At $40 and nearly 2 years since release, Bone Lab is still showing up in the top 25 as number 25 of the apps and games that people are spending the most time in on their Quest. This physics playground-based game only offers several hours of original campaign, but unlimited time if you install mods and take it a step further to really play on this, and it shows that people are still doing it if it's still showing up on this list almost 2 years later. Now remember, this list is where people with their quests on their head are spending the most time, and coming at number 24 is actually WhatsApp. WhatsApp, the worldwide social app that allows people to message and connect from any country or anywhere in the world, fully encrypted. And since being added to the Quest, it is something that a lot of people are talking about. They still like it because it keeps them from being disconnected fully when they're in VR. It keeps them from having to go search for their phone when they're in VR to respond to someone, although some people complain they wish that there was privacy settings where you could disable it, because if someone else is playing VR in your headset, maybe you don't want them reading your messages. I was surprised to see us on the list. Let me know in the comments, do you use WhatsApp on your Quest? As more of the free basketball games have gotten prices, Gym Class Basketball VR still remains free and still remains in the top 25. With over 55,000 ratings, tons of people love this game. You can get in and play it for free. There is add-ons for coins where you can buy stuff in it, but you can at least try the main game totally free. Although the app is showing up as unavailable on the store, Brick Tag actually made it onto the list at number 22. This game looks like what would happen if you combine Legos with Gorilla Tag, so it's no surprise a game like this that's free would garner a lot of attention and get a lot of people in playing it. But if you haven't already played it, you might not get another chance, as people are saying in the reviews. This is due to copyright that this was taken down. It was a little too similar to Gorilla Tag, or it was a little too similar to Lego, so it's unlikely this will stay on the top apps list, but we'll see for sure next month. And there's still a good amount of people spending their time on PCVR, because number 21 on the list is actually the Steam Link. So anyone who's linking from their Quest up to their PC and playing their Steam games directly on the headset, all of those people cumulatively are spending enough time doing that to end up ranking up on this list. Although we'll see Oculus link later on the list, I wonder how many of you out there use Steam versus use Oculus when you're linking up to PC. Penguin Paradise recently made the leap from App Lab over to the main Quest store, and it is completely free. Although this one looks like one that also could possibly get into copyright issues with Gorilla Tag, the game is actually quite different from it. There's a lot of different modes, but the main one, you're racing your friends downhill as penguins, and the graphical style is still pretty on point with Gorilla Tag, but the game has distinguished itself enough that it's becoming pretty popular as an alternative to it. NoClip VR coming in next on the list at number 19. This has long been a popular game, as it's a horror game, it's multiplayer, and it's free, and those three things don't usually come together in one package. This is a backroom simulator where you're hiding around the backrooms, running from entities, and hanging out with other people. If you love the backrooms, you might want to get this one. At number 18, we've got a game you can at least get in and try for free, Epic Roller Coasters. Probably one of the more controversial ones on this list. It has a low rating because a lot of people complain about how they either bought the package that was supposed to guarantee them all future roller coasters and it didn't give them that, or other people saying they spent money and didn't get the ones they did. If you really want to have some free roller coasters to try, show your friends on VR, this one will work for that, but maybe don't spend any money on the app beyond that. At number 17, this is actually going back up the list of people spending a lot of time in Job Simulator, one of the original VR games that most everyone knows and love. People are still spending tons of time in it. If somehow you haven't tried it, you can now play it with controllers or fully just with hand tracking, but this is in the future. Robots have taken over all jobs, and now if humans want to go on vacation, they can see what it was like to do jobs in the past or what the robots thought it was like. It's funny, it's great for content creators, and definitely a game everybody should have. For any of the games on the list today that aren't free and are paid, I'll try and leave you links in the comments and description down below that'll save you some money if you want to go get those. That's through the referral link program, so if you're interested in learning more about that, really you should join our Discord, because we have a whole big section there where you can post referrals and make some money to buy games, or you can get referrals from anybody. And since I'm maxed out, someone else could be making that credit off those games, so it's a better way to go about getting those codes, but I'll leave you some links down below. At number 16, Population 1 is a game that originally started out paid and went free to play after a while to help keep the multiplayer community thriving. This is basically Fortnite in VR. This is a battle royale. You drop in, try and take out your enemies through items that you are finding around the map. You can climb, you can build, and it's one of the most known and probably one of the most intense games when it comes to VR. Between the full motion, the open city, definitely something to check out if you're into battle royale type of games though. The last thing I expected to come in on this list at all, especially at number 15, is MetaQuest TV. With a horribly low user rating of about 2.2, this touts itself as a VR home for the best in immersive entertainment. Basically, you're hanging out, watching shows or movies with friends, or enjoy your own private entertainment screen. There is documentaries, on-demand concerts, and a lot of people in the reviews saying it stopped working, it's horrible, but somehow enough people are getting this to work that it's still showing up in what most people are spending their time in on the Quest. Do you do MetaQuest TV? And if so, what do you watch in it? If you can share that in the YouTube comments section. Big Scary is a game that keeps showing up in all of your comments about a game we need to be talking about for free games. This also falling in the realm of free multiplayer and horror. Big Scary moves you around like in Gorilla Tag, but you are running from entities, hanging out with friends while you're doing it. And since its release, it's been climbing charts all over the place. Number 13, Blade and Sorcery Nomad is the psychopath simulator. Physics-based, you're fighting off enemies and you're killing them in pretty much any way you can imagine or would want to, if you want to. This game was out for years in early access on PC and is about to actually have its first 1.0 launch, probably not to be followed long behind on the Quest, but at $20 the amount of hours you can get playing this yourself or putting friends in and watching them go full psycho is completely worth it. We talked earlier about Steam Link, but number 12 is actually Oculus Link, so a lot more people are using the Oculus Link style of app to link up to their PC and play all their PC games. This could be due to now people using AirLink and wanting to use this wirelessly more, but if you're someone out there who has a Quest and doesn't have a PC, I'm curious, are you considering getting a PC just for those exclusive PC titles? There's rumors of Meta testing cloud gaming so that people can get those without a PC even. We'll talk more about that in the news later this week. People who are developing games for the Quest might be realizing that there was an unfilled niche of multiplayer free and horror, because now the ones that are climbing these lists of most played games. Scary Baboon is our next one, coming in at number 11 with the most straightforward description. It's a horror game where you run away from monsters. There's cosmetics, grabbables, game modes, and all sorts of stuff to do. If you're looking for free multiplayer and horror games, you now have several to choose from. As we crest the top 10 here, we're going to find our way into the free VR multiplayer social games, and the first one on the list, Meta Horizon Worlds, basically Meta's version of VR Chat or Rec Room, a social lobby where you can go hang out with people. There's mini games you can go do. Some people even take work meetings in this, and this one might actually really climb the charts because it's about to go from being in very limited countries to a whole lot more. Number 9, we just mentioned VR Chat now in there. This of course is the original social multiplayer VR game, but it's also playable flat on desktop, now on mobile. So although it's coming in at number 9 on Quest, this is one of the biggest VR social games of the world, as it's on so many other platforms. You get in, you hang out with friends, customize your avatar. There's all different kinds of possibilities. There was even an Among Us game built in this before Among Us VR came out that was fully functional like a version of Among Us. Totally free, but if you've never been in, I'd recommend finding a guide to kind of take you through, because it can get a little dicey. At number 8, Rec Room is a bit more of a gamey VR social multiplayer game, but same thing, it's playable on flat, on PlayStation, PC, on mobile even. So there's tons of people hanging out in Rec Room, and at least if you're on Quest, they're spending even more time here than they are in Horizon Worlds or VR Chat. Roblox is a more recent addition to the world of virtual reality, but the flat version is considered one of the biggest games in the world with over 60 million people playing it every day. And as more and more of its rooms and content are being tailored towards VR or being built specifically for VR, there's more and more to do in this. It does try to impose a hard age limit of 10 and up, so the reviews are rough with a lot of people saying that they couldn't get on because their account was too young. But if you're a fan of Roblox, you can check it out from a whole different angle in VR. Surprisingly, number 6 of Beat Saber here. More people are spending more time in Beat Saber than they are in some of the biggest social apps in VR. Beat Saber, of course, world famous VR game, sensation, rhythm game. You got lightsabers in each hand. You're playing to some of your favorite music, especially if you mod in a bunch of songs. And there's multiplayer too if you want to play this against your friends. Beat Saber is probably one of the games I've personally spent the most time in myself in VR. There's a chance you're actually watching this video on your Quest inside of YouTube VR right now, and that might be why YouTube VR takes the number 5 spot of apps people are spending the most time in virtual reality. YouTube VR, of course, all the YouTube you love, even if you want to watch flat videos in mixed reality while you're walking around your room, or if you want to watch actual VR videos. The new 8K ones on Quest 3 actually look pretty good and way less blurry than what we were used to in the early days of VR. If you haven't checked out YouTube VR yet, I'd say it's finally worth checking out, even just for the VR content. Now remember, this list is what people are spending the most time in, and this one surprised me. Number 4 is Meta's avatars. Now we don't know if that means if you're playing a mini game with your avatar, if you're just in the home environment inside your avatar, does that all qualify? But somehow this is the number 4 thing people are spending the most of their time in. Maybe that's just living in their actual Meta avatars, somehow topping out the list. I don't know what else to say. We've mentioned it multiple times already just in passing, but of course, Gorilla Tag, one of the top games that people are playing in VR, just recently hit $100 million in revenue. That takes the number 3 spot where people are spending the most of their time when they have a Quest on their head. Even people who barely know what VR is somehow are now aware of Gorilla Tag as it enters the zeitgeist. Love it or hate it, it's one of the biggest things people are looking to VR for at the moment. I would have thought Gorilla Tag might have taken the number 1 spot, but with it being number 3, number 2 is actually the browser on MetaQuest. This showing that maybe people really are spending a significant amount of time watching Netflix through the browser, perusing the internet, watching YouTube through the browser, and it's enough cumulative time that somehow the browser itself overtakes Gorilla Tag as what people are spending the most of their time in. An interesting surprise to me, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments as to why this thing is that close to the top. And the number 1 app that people are spending the most time in, Oculus Social itself. Something that's weird that they count that on this list, but could that be every call people are making to then play with their friends with each other, the time people are spending just in lobbies? Somehow all that adds up to claim that Oculus Social is the most used app. But with that, the top 5 games people are spending the most time in: VR Chat, Rec Room, Roblox, Beat Saber, and Gorilla Tag. Not a lot of surprises there, but some surprises on the list overall. What do you think? Was there a game that you thought people were spending more time in that should have actually been on this list? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for being here with me once again, and I'll see you in another reality.